Alright guys, I'm back. I'm actually gonna, instead of skipping to my my recipe where the cornbread's already done, I'm actually gonna show you how I do it. So this is a Albert's yellow cornmeal cornbread recipe, and it normally calls to make corn muffins, but I like making cornbread because the guys here at the fire station just love bigger things in mass quantities, which is why sometimes waistline could be a little bit bigger, but we love to eat. We need our energy for those fires. So 3 cups. So the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of flour. So what I have right here, I have 1 cup measured, leveled out, 1/2 cup. Now I'm doing this, that's 1.5 cups. I'm doing this kind of the layman's way. Normally I would just take 3 cups, because that's 1.5 times 2. But for those of you kiddos out there watching this, it's really easy to make for mom and dad. So there's another cup, and here's 1/2 cup. Now I've switched this around in the past, and I actually messed up where I've done more cornmeal than flour, and I actually caught myself, and then I had to throw it away because it was a messed up recipe. Now 2/3 cup granulated sugar, so that's 2 2/3 cups. So when I get done with one ingredient, I actually end up putting it away. Alright, we normally keep it in here. However, since somebody didn't refill it earlier, I'm going to have to do that now. And if I can get this darn bag open. Oh, that's why part of my EDC is a nice knife. Smith & Wesson makes this. It's called a border guard. It's got a 6-inch blade, SWB G2T. Very nice seatbelt cutter. I'll be doing a review of this in probably in the next video. However, great for opening up a sugar bag. So I need 2/3 of a cup, which is this right here, 2/3, and I need 2 of them. So what the easiest way to do is, let me just go ahead and refill this container. Well, we're kind of lucky, because in our district we have a Costco. In case any of you are wondering, how do we pay for chow? Do people donate us food? Do people give us money? Answer is no. Every once in a while, like we had the Duarte and Azusa fires here beginning of the month, people did come and donate us goods, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sometimes we don't see our families for a couple weeks on end, and it's nice to have people out there in the community knowing that, hey, maybe these guys need water, Gatorade, socks, underwear. Appreciate the chonies. We really do. Anyways, sugar container's full up. I got 2 2/3 cup inside my dry mix. Here's my dry mix. Keep them separate, wet, dry. And you know what, guys, honestly, I'll mix the wet and I'll mix the dry together. I really don't see a point in keeping them separate. I'm sure there's some bakers out there who will say otherwise, and if you guys can tell me why, leave the comment below. Because by no means am I a chef, and I just know how to cook. I think a chef is somebody that's been to school, has got professional training. Honestly, I just have life experience, baby, and I love to eat. I cook, I eat, I mix it up. Don't taste good one time, I go back and change it. And these guys, they love to eat. Alright, next on the menu is 1/2 cup of actual cornmeal. So I need a whole cup because I'm making a double recipe. So I like using the yellow cornmeal because it gives character to the cornbread. Good presentation. And you know, when you think of cornbread, you think of corn, which is yellow. Any barbecue joint I've ever been to, I've had yellow cornbread. Now honestly, and there's a bazillion recipes out there for cornbread. I like this recipe the best because the cornbread is sweet. Everybody that I know that eats cornbread, they like putting honey and butter on it, which is standard. Standard operating eating procedures of cornbread. But this recipe has sugar in it, and the cornbread's already sweet. And so when you put it in your mouth, it's an explosion of sweetness. Alright. Now I need, it says 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Oh, sorry, baking powder. I do 2. Why? Double recipe. I like using Clabber Girls baking powder. Alright, so now the good thing about baking powder, if you guys don't know, it has this little lip inside, as you can see. So when you're doing a even level scoop, you can just come in here and scoop. Now if you pull it up, you can see it's a heaping scoop. You don't want a heaping scoop. So I would take it in against the lip and just kind of bring it back, and now it's level. That's why they put it in. I'll take the second one and I'll do the same. Level scoop. 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Alright. Half teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm a big proponent of healthy living, living a healthy lifestyle. Now, of course, this recipe calls for sugar, and I try and hold back from pretty much everything that has sugar in it. But because I'm making for the masses, I'm going to throw it in there. However, when it comes down to salt, I stay away from iodized salt because it has sugar in it when they make it. I use either organic sea salt or pure sea salt. It's a Kirkland brand. It's from Costco, but it's sea salt and otherwise, so it's all natural. Whole Foods, Whole 30, great way to go. 1 teaspoon of salt, so I'm going to do 2 teaspoons. I caught myself. It calls for a half a teaspoon. I'm going to do 1. And now, so those are the dry ingredients. So now here comes the wet ingredients: milk, eggs, vegetable oil, and butter. Again, trying to be a proponent of a healthy lifestyle calls for milk. I've used almond milk in the past and it comes out outstanding. A little bit flatter, but it's almond milk. Eggs, whole eggs. So it calls for 2 large eggs lightly beaten. So what I'm going to do is use 4 because it's a double recipe. I'll tell you what, guys, for parties, this thing is great. You can double this recipe and make, of course, double the amount of muffins, or you can make one giant, huge thing of cornbread in a pan. I'm using a deep baking dish, which is perfect for this recipe and for the guys, because then I serve them a nice big fat piece of cornbread. You got to remember, people love presentation. If it looks good on your plate, it probably is good. Just like Andrew Zimmerman says, if it looks good, baby, eat it. Yeah, I eat it all day long. Alright, so I'll lightly beat my eggs. Just a light beat, no more than, probably 7-8 seconds. Just a light beat, okay, maybe 10, 12, 13, okay, 14 seconds. 14 seconds. Alright, leche. My recipe, not my recipe, is a 1.25 cups. So 1.25 cups, so what is that math? 2.5 cups. So here's a cup. So there's 1. 2. And a half. And a half. Right there. There's a half. Alright. Now I'm going to be adding corn to this recipe. Now the recipe doesn't call for it, but like I said, I throw a little spin on it. Oh, and I almost forgot one of my secret ingredients, cinnamon. Let me tell you what, freaking makes a big difference, because you can eat cornbread as a sandwich with your meal, you do it as a dessert. Now, I don't normally measure out my cinnamon, so basically what I'm doing, hold on, we're getting a call. What I'm doing, I'm just coating the top of the dry mix. Stand by.